Nice test drive with the Sonata. I'll get right to it. First impressions?
For me, I first noticed that it really stands out with its looks.
I agree. It looks great. Hyundai went with a redesign for 2015, and you can see a definite difference right away. I first noticed the increase in size from the previous version. I was surprised that this didn't necessarily translate to seat room though.
You're right. I did feel pretty comfortable driving in the front. It does have more front legroom than Camry, and slightly more headroom, but Camry did have over 3 inches more rear legroom compared to Sonata.
Interesting how there's still such a big difference in rear legroom between the vehicles. Though you're right, Sonata was pretty roomy up front. I also noticed while sitting up there that the interior design is sleek as well. You can tell Hyundai really was going for a luxurious look inside the cabin.
Definitely. Though I'm still not sure how much work they really put into it when comparing to Toyota. Camry made the effort to update the styling of things like front door panels and registers, and even pay attention to details as little as enhancing the knob design for audio and HVAC controls.
You're right. I do enjoy how much attention to detail went into updating Camry's interior, but I will still admit that Hyundai has made some nice improvements. They even updated their steering wheel.
Speaking of steering, how did you think the Sonata drove?
I tend to agree with how Car and Driver described it. Some great improvements have been made, but the Sonata still has some old habits it needs to break, like its tendency to slightly understeer. However, it was still a pretty smooth ride overall.
I felt mostly the same, though I will say I was surprised to learn that the Sonata actually produces less power than the one before it. Why is that?
Well, the 2.4 liters VVT is now electrically driven over oil driven, and that, along with some retuning, accounts for the decrease in horsepower and torque. But even with this decrease, Sonata's power numbers beat Camry in almost every area.
Except for Camry's V6. That engine produces more horsepower than Sonata.
Good catch. Though Sonata does beat Camry when it comes to fuel economy, but only barely. The numbers are very close.
Yeah, some of those MPG comparisons are only a mile or so different from each other.
Yep. Anyway, let's talk about another hot topic in this segment: safety. I noticed right away that, like most other competitors, Sonata has fewer airbags than Camry. Only 7 compared to Camry's 10.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that. The only other competitor to have 10 airbags is the Malibu, and there are wins and there. But besides airbags, what does Sonata have? Nothing so far has compared to Toyota's Star Safety System. Can anything on Hyundai really beat it?
Well, they offer some similar technologies like blind spot detection and lane departure warning, sure, but not to the same level as Toyota. Even something like Smart Stop technology is noticeably absent, and a rear-view camera isn't even standard on Hyundai's lowest trim level.
You mentioning the rear-view camera brings me to Hyundai's audio display. I couldn't believe how small the touchscreen was compared to Camry's. Even Camry's smaller Intune system provides a touchscreen over 1 inch bigger than Sonata's.
I was surprised about that too, and even more surprised to learn that the same touchscreen, the 5-inch one on the Sonata, is standard on all grades. Even the limited model requires more money to upgrade to the 8-inch display. Camry's got a 6.1-inch screen standard, and you get a 7-inch screen when you start getting into the higher grades.
And don't forget Camry's navigation and the Intune app suite on those trim levels. The app suite has Facebook Places and Yelp, just to name a few.
Yep. Hyundai doesn't really have anything that can compare here. Even the upgraded Dimension system is only standard on the Limited. Camry has multiple trims with upgraded audio systems.
Audio aside though, Hyundai does have some pretty cool technology. I think the Sonata's best feature is its hands-free smart trunk. It opens on its own when you get close to the rear of the vehicle.
Yeah, and surprisingly, that feature is standard on almost all grades above the base level SE. Definitely a convenient piece of technology, and it's something Camry doesn't have. But most of Hyundai's other options are available on Toyota as well, whether that's Bluetooth, HomeLink integration, or whatever else.
You're right. The Sonata has a cool redesign and still has competitive power numbers, an upgraded interior, and a decent amount of sporty premium technology, as well as a 5-year unlimited mile roadside assistance program. But is it really better than Camry?
I would say no. Camry provides nearly identical features and then some. Perhaps more importantly, at least to someone like me, is also Camry's attention to detail. Hyundai has made some improvements for sure, but Camry's improvements show how Toyota is listening to customers and doing its best to make everything even more intuitive to its drivers.
I'm with you. Camry wins for me.
Yep, can't argue with that. On to the next one.